Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This video is the third video in a series I'm doing about the reduce method. Reduce is a method on arrays which I love. I'm making a few videos that show some more advanced uses of it. Now this video is using object, is basically working with objects. So if you don't know objects yet in JavaScript, I would suggest you come back here when you know some things about objects, because otherwise some stuff here might get you confused. Okay. Now even if you know only a little bit about objects, maybe you don't know this this particular thing. So I need to explain something about objects before before I'm going to explain the rest of this video, the rest of clear over here. Okay. So what I'm going to show is that objects are basically some addresses in memory. So if you do something like this, const copy equals some random object, right? I'm going to just if you do this, this is basically not gonna make another object with the same content as of some random object. It's basically going to give to copy the same address in the memory that some random object has. So then if you access something inside copy, like copy countries, Romania, cities, Bucharest, and you change it, then it will be changed in some random object as well, because this is not this is basically not a value, is an address in memory. So I will exemplify this. If I now say copy, well, also you need to know that any objects is an address in memory. So even the objects that are deep within this object, like cities is also an address. So if you basically copying this into, like normally, into a variable, it will give you it will just give the address of these objects. It will not just copy the contents, it will give the address. So if I'm saying some random object, and then I'm saying countries, Romania, and then say Roman, oh, I think it's cities, right? If I'm saying this, and then I'm saying copy, which would be basically an address to this, copy of Roman, like this, it's equal to 1, and then I'm console log this. If I console log copy Roman now, yeah, so node reduce change copy Roman, what's going on here, countries, Romania, cannot set property Roman of undefined. Why? Where is this undefined? Countries, Romania. Oh, this is a mistake here. It's cities, right? So let's do this again. We get 1 because we have changed it here, right? We don't get this value, we get 1. But lo and behold, if I actually put this here, like this, you will see that also that one is 1. That one has changed as well, because this is just an address in memory. So it basically points to the same address. So if I change something at that address, the value of something at that address, it changes here as well, because it is just an address. Okay. If you want it not to be an address, you would do something like this. You would give it like an object, and you would spread like this the contents of that address in the new object that you are creating, and then only this one would be changed while the other one would remain the same, right? As you can see, it remains the same. So I won't explain this. This is spreading in JavaScript. I will explain at some point, but not here. But anyway, the important thing is to realize what's going on here. You basically, if you have an address of an object, you can change the things inside this object. So if you have the address of an object deep inside another object, you can change whatever it is in that small object, right? So I'll delete this explanation from here. And now the purpose of this video is to use reduce in a function where, given an address into some deep object that has multiple objects within objects, given an address like, for example, countries, Romania, cities, and some properties to change in that object, like for example maybe these two we want to change them. So given the address, and the address will be given as a string, the object in which we will change properties and the properties to change are that address, make a function that gets that address and that object and those properties, and it changes them, right? Like, so basically it would look something like this. Update object items, you give it the address, you give it the object, and then the properties which to change. Let's put this something like this, so it's more you can see it better when it changes, right? So now let's explain. I already wrote this. This is something I wrote for work, and I will explain what's going on here. Here you give the address as a string, then you got the object, the big object that you will give, and then here the items to update at this particular address in the object, right? Now what's going on here, we will put here in this object location the address of that small object like we did before, the address of the small object in which we will change these properties that we give here in another object, right? And here what I'm saying, I'm using a ternary operator here. So if you don't know what a ternary operator is, I will link a video above. Let me just get a... I will link a video here. And what I'm saying is, if there is an address length, so if this address that I'm giving here has any length, so it's something like this, maybe something like this, where there is an address to an actual place in the object, then I'm doing this. If there is not a length, so means the length is 0, then I want to return basically the objects. And when I'm saying object location equals object, it means the address of this is the same as the address of this, which is basically the object. So if I'm not giving any address, it means the properties that will be changed are direct properties of the object that I'm giving, right? But yeah, you wouldn't really do that. Only if you have an address you would need to do something like this. Anyway, I wanted to put that in there in case you pass something like this. This is what it means, right? So again, I will change this to back to address, because, so remember, this is the address. That's basically a string with dots in it, or maybe just something like countries, like this. If I give just countries like this, you will basically get the address of this object and change properties in this object. Whatever properties I give it, they have to be direct properties of the object at that address, right? So here, change it back to how it was before, address. And then let's put here a comment just to show how an address would be, like for example, I will put this address so just so I exemplify what happens in the next steps. So let's say the address would be like this, right? Now, if the address has a length, we do this. So what does this do? First, we do address split by dot, which means in this address split by dot, what's going to return is going to return us an array which will be something like this. So it will be like this: countries. Well, they will be string like this: countries, Romania, and then cities. So when I run the split, I will get an array like this, and we do know that reduce is run on an array. And then we do the reduce, and the reduce gets as the starting value the object that we give. And for each particular element, it will return accumulator of current. So on the first step, it will return accumulator of countries, which means in the first step, the accumulator will get the address of countries. So now the accumulator will be the address of countries. Then on the next step, on Romania, because the accumulator is the address of countries, when we say countries of Romania, the next step, it returns basically the address of Romania, right? It basically just keeps going deep down into the addresses, right? Now the accumulator will become Romania, the object that's called Romania, right? That address in memory, right? That's the accumulator now. And then on the last step, it will return accumulator Romania of cities. So now at the end, what's this returning? It will return the address of cities. So because we have given this string, we have split it into this, and then this address will be the address of cities. We basically have reduced this address to an array which was reduced to a address in memory that is basically this address, right? So now we have that address in memory in this. So this will be the address in memory that we need, right? So now that we've explained the first part, then we go to how we change the items that we give. And the items that we give will be something like an object like this. And I don't know if I have a video about split, but you can look it up. It should be pretty simple for you to understand. I will make a video at some point if I don't have already. If I have a video, I will link it above. And again, I use two other things here. I use for each, which I have a video about. I will link it here. And I also use object keys, which I have a video about, and again, I will link it here, okay? And now what I'm doing, I'm saying here object keys of items to update, which is this item that we're giving here. So we're saying object keys of this object that we give, which object keys of this object will return an array with the property names, which is Iași and Romania, like Iași and Romania, right? In this case, it's Iași and Romania, so it will return this an array like this, like Iași and Romania, and it will say for each of these properties, for each item, object location, so this address, so basically this address in the big object of item, so it's saying this address, because now we have the address of this, of Iași, you want it to get the value of items to update, the one that we give, of, again, item, which, so it's basically saying the address of cities of Yash equals items to update of Yash, right? So we're putting the value in the address from before, we're putting the value that we're giving, and then it's saying for each, so then it will get this one and this one and this one depending on how many there are. So then it's saying the address cities of Romania, well, this would not, or this will not be Romania, will be Roman. So you were saying that address of Roman equals the items to update object of Roman. So we're changing the value. So now basically we're changing values at this address with values from this object. And this is all. This is all the function. I hope you did understand it. If you did not understand it, please give a comment below of where you got stuck, but I think I'll probably explain it pretty well. So now you can see that if I say here clear and I say this, oh, we didn't do the console log. Now here I'm not using console log, I'm using console table. You can use console table if you want some kind of format of the information in it. And here what I'm doing, I'm console logging some random object, countries, Romania, cities, to see what's in there now. So basically I have run this, and now if I console log console table this, you can see that now this remains unchanged like this, but this one have been changed to 1 and 2. And if I change like 10 and 20 and save and do this again, it have changed to 20 and 10, right? So now what if I want to change in the address, I want to say change the in the address of Romania, I want to change cities, I want to change cities to an empty object, or let's say maybe Manchester, right? Manchester 1000. So now if I console table Romania Romania cities, right, then I will get this, right? So basically I gave it this address, and I want at this address, Romania, I want to change cities with another object, and I gave it another object, right? So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you can see how reduce is much more than the simple use cases that you see usually online. There's some pretty nice uses for it, so make sure you push it to the limits because it's a really useful method. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please give a like and subscribe, and if you subscribe, do click that notification button so you can see notification when I put new videos. Alright, bye bye for now.